Hey everyone, it's Autumn. I'm here at the studio by myself. I miss everyone. I miss seeing all of you guys in my classes. It's definitely been a change this week. But at the same time, I'm feeling very grateful that we have the opportunity to do some of these virtual classes and to be able to continue our practices together. So this is my first virtual class that I'm teaching. So if anyone can't hear me or see me, please send me a message and let me know if you're not able to hear me or see me or anything. And I'll try to look at those as I am teaching. So yeah, please let me know. So this will be about a 45-minute long, all-level flow type of class. So if you have any props at home that you would like to use for this class, you can use either a thin blanket or like a bath towel or a beach towel. And then if you have yoga blocks, obviously you can use those. Or if you don't have yoga blocks at home, a book can work just fine too. So it looks like some of you are viewing this, I think. So awesome, thank you for joining. We'll get started here in just a minute or two. It's just about 5 o'clock. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm gonna make my way back to the mat, but like I said, if anybody cannot hear me or see me, please send a message through and I will try to fix that for you. So we'll get started for class tonight in a nice, gentle child's pose. So take the big toes together and allow the knees to come wide. And start to walk the fingertips forward as you sink the heart down to the mat. And for this child's pose, let's take one cheek down to rest on the mat, or maybe rest on that beach towel or bath towel or whatever you have at home. We'll do the other side too to make sure that you feel nice and even. And just start to notice the rhythm of the breath here. Feel that breath as it travels all the way from the base of the spine, up the back, into the shoulders. Take a couple more deep grounding breaths here on this side. And then on your next breath, just gently lift the head and turn over to the other cheek. And again, feeling those hips sink back down towards the heels. As you start to slow the breathing and slow the mind, maybe take a moment to set an intention for your practice. And then with your next breath, just gently lift and come into your tabletop position. So the knees are stacked right under the hips and the wrists are stacked right under the shoulders here. We'll find some movement in this tabletop beginning to get into the hips and into the shoulders. So start to take some big circles here. Stay with that breath. And then after your next circle, let's switch direction. So we start to loosen up the joints. And then come back back to center after you finish your next circle. Take a moment here, take a breath in this tabletop position. And then we'll move through a few rounds of cat-cow. So as you inhale, drop the belly, peel the heart and the chest open, gaze up. Exhale, round the spine, tuck the chin, cat pose. Inhale to cow. Exhale, cat. Take a couple more rounds of this cat-cow, using your own breath as your guide. Creating space in the spine as we go through these movements. After your next round, find that flat back, find that neutral spine. Keep the knees stacked right under the hips, and we'll just start to walk the hands out in front, coming into a puppy pose. So allowing the heart to sink down. You can let the chin or maybe the forehead rest on the mat here. Really pressing down through that chest space. Let's take one more breath here. And then begin to lift the heart and walk the hands back underneath the shoulders. Really plant down through this right hand, making all the fingertips active, fingertips spread wide. And then on your next inhale, lift the left hand, the left fingertips, opening up to the left side. On the next exhale, start to thread the needle, taking that left hand behind the right arm, bringing the back of the arm down to the mat, and allowing that left cheek to rest. Option to lift the right fingertips, maybe taking a bind by placing the fingertips to the low back or that left hip. And staying with breath. If you have the bind, start to bring the right fingertips back down next to the left cheek. Begin to lift the upper body and sweep the left fingertips up to the sky. We'll keep that right knee planted right where it is. And start to send the left foot to the back of the mat. Come into your modified side plank here. So that bottom, that right foot can kind of come out at an angle to serve as a bit of a kickstand and help with some balance here. Keep that chest and that heart space open. And maybe reach the fingertips towards the front of the mat. Lengthening the side body. And then on your next exhale, return the left hand down to the mat. Come back into that tabletop. And we'll prepare to do our thread the needle on the right side. So the left palm plants in, the right hand peels open. 1 to 2 breaths here. And then as you breathe out, thread your needle, sending that right hand behind the left. The right cheek or temple can come down to the mat. And then again, option to take the bind here, wrapping those left fingertips around to the low back or to the hip crease. Really being mindful of this left shoulder, keeping it open and pulling back. In the next breath, place the left hand back down to the mat. Inhale, I'll sweep the right fingertips up, and we're moving right into that side plank, modified side plank. So again, that left foot can kind of come out as a kickstand here to help with the balance. And then maybe reach the right fingertips overhead, lengthening the side body. And then make your way back to tabletop position. One breath here, reset, finding that center. When you're ready, tuck the toes, start to lift the knees from the mat and send the hips towards the back of the mat, coming into your first downward facing dog. Take a moment here to pedal out your down dog, bending one knee and then the other. Maybe shaking the head yes, shaking the head no. And then finding stillness again. Let's take that down dog a little bit wider. So bring the feet to the edges of the mat. And really press the heart back towards the thighs. We'll start to pair some movement and breath together. So as you inhale, lift the heels, come up onto the balls of the feet. And then as you exhale, press the heels back down towards the mat. The heels might touch the mat and they might not. Wherever you are today in your practice is okay. We're just moving those heels towards the mat. So let's do a few more of those. Inhale up onto the ball of the feet. And then exhale, press the heels down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, press. One more. And then after that last round, you can bring the feet back in a few inches back into a normal downward facing dog, about hip width apart. And then start to walk the feet, take a few baby steps, bringing them up to the hands for that forward fold. You can have a bend in the knees, make them soft. And take a little movement here from side to side. Releasing any tension in the low back. Returning to stillness, we're going to peel up from this forward fold very slowly. So softening at the knees, letting the front of the body hang heavy, and peel up one vertebrae at a time. Feeling the muscles in the backs of the legs activating here. As you come all the way up to stand, let the shoulders melt down and bring the fingertips together at the low back, interlacing the fingers. Shine the heart open. Gaze up. And then again, softening at the knees, we're going to make our way right back down to that forward fold. Keep the fingers interlaced at the low back here. As you draw the nose down towards the knees, you may want to take a shoulder rinse here. So maybe gently lifting the fingers off of the low back. They may lift just an inch or two, or maybe you draw the hands towards the front of the mat, making this a shoulder stretch. On the next exhale, release the hands, return to that forward fold. We're going to peel up slowly once again, rooting down through all four corners of each foot, moving up one vertebrae at a time, allowing the shoulders and the head to come up last. This time we'll inhale, bringing the arms up overhead, and then wrap the right fingertips around the left wrist, root down through the left foot, and take a side stretch. Opening up the left side body. Bring it back to center. Bring both palms to face forward and take a little back bend here. Come back to that neutral spine, and then we'll wrap the left fingertips around the right, side stretch towards the left. Release the grip and swan dive all the way down to the mat. Let's take a quick ragdoll here, so opposite hands grabbing onto the elbows and maybe taking some movement here. I'm just gonna check the screen and make sure that there's no comments, that no one can hear me. Okay, we're good. So meeting back in that ragdoll, allowing the head to hang heavy. On our next breath, release the hands, and this time we'll come to a halfway lift. So as you inhale, come to that flat back, allow the palms to press into the shins or to the thighs. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhale, fold. Again, rooting down to rise up. Inhale, sweep the arms up. The hands meet at the top. Exhale through heart center all the way back down, forward fold. Plant the hands at the top of the mat, about shoulder width distance. And then we'll step one foot back and then the other, coming into our high plank. Option to drop the knees here. And then stay here for just one full breath, one full inhale and full exhale, pulling that belly button in towards the spine. And then let's take a knees, chest, chin, dropping the knees down, bending at the elbows, keeping them nice and close to the body. And then sweeping up into that baby cobra. Release the forehead back down to the mat. Press back into that tabletop. And then tuck the toes, send the hips back, downward facing dog. Let's take one breath here. Full inhale, full exhale, really empty out the lungs. And then with the next breath, we'll sweep the right heel up towards the sky, coming into a three-legged dog. So keeping the weight evenly distributed in the shoulders and in the hands. Go ahead and bend the knee, drawing that heel in towards the glute. And then open up that right hip. So almost stacking the right hip on top of the left. And then circle out the ankle. Maybe you even want to circle out the hip here. Return to that three-legged dog, straighten the leg, and then step that right foot all the way up towards the top of the mat between the hands, coming into your low lunge. If you need to take a few extra steps to get there, like moving through tabletop, you're welcome to do so. You may want to use your bath towel, beach towel, blanket under that back knee for some support. And when you're ready, lifting up into that low lunge, sending the fingertips up overhead. Inhale here. And on your exhale, let's bring the elbows wide, coming out into a cactus. Shine the heart open. On an exhale, come back to that neutral spine. Frame the front foot, plant that left hand down, and then tuck the back toe, lifting the knee. We're going to come into a twist here, so open up with those right fingertips. A couple options here. We're going to move into a side plank. So the first option is to drop that back knee down and find that modified side plank just like we did before. Or if you'd like to take a full plank, you can keep that back knee lifted and sweep the right foot all the way to the back of the mat. So pressing those hips up. One more inhale and exhale. Come back to your high plank. Drop down, knees, chest, chin, or a chaturanga if you have that in your practice. Let's find that cobra. Maybe this time, taking a deeper back bend, straightening those arms. And then exhale, tuck the toes, make your way to downward facing dog. On the next breath, we'll lift the left heel, coming into that three-legged dog, feeling one long line of energy all the way from the left heel to the fingertips. Bend the knee, open up the hip, and maybe take some circles at the ankle joint or the hip joint. Begin to straighten that left leg and prepare for your low lunge on the left. So drawing that left knee in towards the chest and stepping it all the way through, dropping the back knee down, rising up, low lunge. Make sure that that front knee is right over the front ankle. See if you have any room to drop the shoulders down and away from the ears. Inhale, reach through the fingertips, and then exhale, open up cactus arms. Shine the heart. Exhale, frame that front foot. The right hand stays planted at the inside of the foot, and then we'll tuck the toes and lift that back knee. Open up to the left for your twist. Staying with that breath here. And then remembering we have two options, either coming into a modified side plank or sweeping that front foot back all the way to your regular side plank. Pressing the hips up. Let's stay here for another 3, 2, 1. Make your way to a high plank and take your knees, chest, chin, or if you have a chaturanga in your practice, you can shift forward and then gently lower down to the mat, coming into your cobra or up dog. We're all going to meet together in a downward facing dog. Take one breath here. If you'd like to take a child's pose as a quick resting posture, you're welcome to do so. And once you've finished that breath, start to inhale, lift the heels up once again, bend the knees and take some baby steps or maybe a hop all the way to the top of the mat, coming into that forward fold and come straight into our chair pose. So a couple options for chair pose. You can keep the arms out in front or you can bring the hands to heart center. Stay with me here in this chair. Good. And then we'll start to lift that left heel up. So the right foot stays rooted down, the left heel lifts, and we'll just gently step that left foot all the way to the back of the mat, making our way into a high lunge with the right leg in front. Check in with the alignment here. Make sure both hip points are facing forward and that the knee is stacked over the ankle. Inhale, reach up through those fingertips. And as you exhale, open to your warrior two. So those back toes point out at a 90-degree angle. The gaze is over the middle fingertip. As you inhale, start to straighten that front leg, bring the fingertips to meet at the top. And then as you exhale, press it back down into that warrior two. We're going to do 2 more of these. Inhale, lifting, feeling that energy bringing you up. And then exhale, press back down, warrior two. One more time, inhale, lift. Exhale, press back down. Flip the front palm, reach forward, take your reverse warrior. Really lengthening through the ribs and the side body. Inhale, come back up to warrior two. Straighten that front leg, and this time turn both feet so that you're facing the long edge of your mat. Bring hands to the hips. Open up through the chest or through the heart space, and then start to hinge at the hips. As you make your way into your wide-legged forward fold. Allowing the hands to come down to the mat, or maybe to those blocks or books if you have them, if you're using those as props. And just breathe here. Start to walk the hands back to that right foot, back to the front of the mat. And we'll turn both feet to face the front of the mat again. Step that back foot all the way up, make your way into that forward fold. This time maybe take gorilla pose by placing palms underneath the balls of the feet. Or if you'd like to take a different version in a ragdoll, you're welcome to do that as well. Release the hands, and we're going to prepare to come back into chair pose. So starting to shift the weight into the heels as you sink the hips back, the toes peel up, lift the heart, chair pose. We won't hold this side quite as long, just one full inhale, one full exhale. And then start to lift that right heel as you plant down through the left foot. Step that right foot all the way to the back of the mat, coming into your high lunge on the left. Fingertips reach up. Make sure you're stable in your foundation. One more breath here together. And then open up for your warrior two. Noticing how the hip points are open this time. Checking in with the feet. And then as you inhale, straighten the front leg. The fingertips come together, meeting at the top. Exhale, press down, warrior two. Inhale, reach. Exhale, press. One more. Good. Straighten that front leg. Turn the toes towards the wide part of your mat. Once again, I'm just going to turn around so that you guys can see a little bit better. And this time, I want you to heel toe the feet in just a couple of inches so that both feet are a little bit wider than shoulders and hips. We'll point the toes out so that you're kind of creating a V shape with the feet here. Let's bring the hands to heart center, and then keeping the spine nice and tall, nice and flat, we'll start to bend the knees, sliding our way down into goddess squat or malasana. If your elbows can make it to the insides of the knees, you can press in and deepen that hip stretch. And again, staying with the rhythm of the breath. Allow the hands to come down to the mat, and then send the hips back up. Good, coming into that forward fold. Walk the hands towards the front of the mat, and step that back foot up, forward fold. From here, we'll plant both hands at the top of the mat, fingertips spread wide. And then step one foot back and then the other, coming into your downward facing dog. So maybe noticing if this down dog feels differently than the first one that we did in class today. On the next inhale, the right heel lifts for that three-legged dog. And then as you exhale, draw the knee in towards the chest. We're going to set up for our pigeon pose. So laying that right shin across the top of the mat as the hips start to sink down. So the angle of this front foot or this front leg will be different for everyone. If you have that beach towel or blanket nearby, you may want to use that to support that right hip, making sure that the hips are staying upright. Check back with that back leg, make sure it's parallel with the mat. And then from here, you can start to hinge at the hips, maybe come down to the forearms just as an option. Allow the head and the neck to relax here. As we send breath to that outside right hip. Take 3 more deep, slow breaths here in this pigeon pose. And then once you've completed those 3 breaths, you can press into the mat and begin to lift the heart. We'll plant the hands at the top of the mat and lift that back knee, gently making your way back into that downward facing dog. Take a couple moments here to bend one knee and then the other. Pedal out that down dog and feel any differences on one side of the body versus the other. With the next breath, lift the left heel, come into that 3-legged dog. And then draw the knee in towards the chest as you set up for pigeon on the left. If this didn't feel quite right for you on the other side and you'd like an alternative, you can also take pigeon pose on your back by crossing that left ankle over the knee, interlacing fingers behind that right thigh, and then pulling the knee in towards the chest. So I'll take this version on this side, but please take whatever serves you best. As we're in this intense hip opening posture here, notice if there's any tension that you're holding in the forehead or the jaw, maybe the shoulders. And send some breath to those areas. We'll be here for just a few more moments. Take your last breath in pigeon pose. And then whether you're in the regular pigeon or if you've taken the pigeon on your back, we'll just all make our way back into a downward facing dog. So take your time getting there. And again, pedaling out the knees. And then walk the feet up towards the hands for one more forward fold. Start to sink the hips down towards the mat as you make your way to an easy seated position. Extend the legs out long in front. And then bring the hands out in front, imagining that you're holding a beach ball. We're going to make our way down to our backs, but we're going to use the core to get there. So we'll lower down nice and slowly. One vertebrae at a time. Feeling that heat in the core. And then once you make it all the way down to the mat, just send the hands up overhead, taking a full body stretch from fingertips to toes. You can bring the hands and the arms down alongside the body, and then bring the bottoms of the feet together, opening the knees out to the sides, coming into your reclined bound angle pose or Supta Baddha Konasana. Let's place one hand over the belly and one hand over the heart as we reconnect with that breath and with that natural rhythm of the body. If you set an intention at the beginning of our practice, maybe you bring that back to mind. You're welcome to stay here if this feels good for you. Our next posture will be a few rounds of bridge, so if that sounds like somewhere that you'd like to go, you can bring the fingertips to the outside edges of the legs and then slowly guide the knees together. The bottoms of the feet will plant on the mat, nice and close to the glutes. Bring the arms down alongside the body. And then as you breathe in, start to press into the heels and into the arms as you lift the hips up towards the sky. Allowing the thighs and the legs to do all the work here. Exhale, sink the hips back down. Prepare for your next round of bridge, pressing in through the heels and through the arms. Lift the hips. Exhale, sink back down. For our last round of bridge, if you have a wheel in your practice and you would like to take that instead, you can bring the hands up next to the ears. I'm not going to take wheel, but if you'd like to, you're welcome to. And then if you're doing that final round of just the bridge, begin to press in and lift the hips. Exhale, sink back down to the mat. Draw the knees into the chest, giving them a hug. Rocking from side to side, massaging that lower back. Come to center, bring the arms out wide into a T, and then we'll drop both knees over towards the right side as you gaze to the left fingertips, coming into that spinal twist. You can use the right hand to add a little bit of weight on top of the knees and deepen the twist. One more breath on this side. And then inhale back to center. Pause here for just a moment. And then we'll drop the knees over to the left as the gaze goes right. One more full inhale and full exhale. Draw the knees back into center, giving them another tight squeeze. And then we'll extend both legs long up towards the sky, setting up for your legs up the wall. If you're near a wall in your home and you'd like to place the backs of the legs alongside the wall, you can go ahead and move over to that wall now. You may want to use a blanket, a block, or your hands underneath the hips to give them a bit of a lift here. Keeping the feet active toes drawing back down towards the body. If you have a blanket, a block, or your hands underneath the hips, gently start to remove them. Bring the fingertips up to the outer edges of both feet and come into your happy baby. Again, maybe finding some movement here, rocking from side to side. Maybe straightening one leg and then the other. And then bringing both knees back together, back into that tight squeezed ball. We'll engage all the muscles in the body here, pulling in tightly. And then on your next breath out, allow the heels to come down to the corners of the mat. Let the arms rest by the sides as you relax into our final posture, our Shavasana. Begin to bring your awareness back to the present, taking a few gentle movements in the fingers and in the toes. Maybe taking the arms up overhead for one final full body stretch. taking your time, come back up to a seated position. You can keep the eyes closed here if you'd like. And just bring the hands to heart center. Take one full inhale and full exhale. Thank you all for joining me for this class this evening. Even though I'm not with you guys in real life in the studio here, it's been an honor to lead you through this class. The light in me sees and honors the light in each and every one of you. Namaste. Well, thank you guys very much. I am teaching another class tomorrow morning at 9. So hopefully I will see some of you guys there again. Have a good rest of your Wednesday evening.